Aloha, it's Dave Lawrence. How you doing? A big mahalo for tuning in. Today we have we've got a chance to speak with another artist who is on their way to Hawaii for the cancer fighting benefit Kauai Rocks. And my guest on the line ahead of that special event is doing so from practically the other side of the world. He and his band started out in the late 70s in North Wales. I believe he's calling us from there. Their first U.S. tour was in 1983. And they got to debut in the United States as opening act for U2. On his journey, his music's made a lot of people happy, and he's also touched people's lives in heavier ways, too. He's battled cancer himself. He was instrumental in the organization Love, Hope, Strength, who are presenting Kauai Rocks, and you can find out more at their website, lovehopestrength.org or kawairocks.org. I've had the honor of meeting this guy in Boston years ago when I was working at the legendary WBCN, and it's a pleasure to speak again with Mike Peters of The Alarm and now Big Country. Aloha and mahalo, Brother Mike.
Aloha, Dave. Fantastic to speak with you. What a great introduction.
Well, thank you very much, and it's a pleasure. I really I admire what you do a lot, and thank you so much for just taking some time for me.
It's an absolute pleasure, Dave, and we did meet in Boston. That's right, at WBCN, yeah.
Yeah, you were. It was. I think I met you a few times there. I know that Carter Allen has a long love for you, and that was back in his era at the station. And
Oedipus, and there's some great guys there.
Yeah, I was working for Mark Parento, the great Mark, and I think it was '97. I'm not sure, but you came through, and it was right around Christmas, maybe. It's hard to remember.
That's right. Yeah, it was. I think it was just before that. It was probably the year before that, actually, and I think I came over to play the sort of acoustic Christmas weekend and all that kind of thing, big radio weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly, and it's all vague now, the Xmas rave and stuff. We used to do all these crazy things, but you were a special guy, and I have to do it. If I didn't say that, it wouldn't be, correct journalism. You weren't just a regular artist. The radio station there, believe it or not, I can say this because I worked there, they loved Mike, and they knew Mike had been through some stuff, plus they just loved him, and you were like one of Carter Allen's pet artists.
Yeah, well, I suppose in a way our career started in America we played the Rumble with BCN straight after we played with U2, like you mentioned there, and also Till Tuesday played Amy Mann, and it was a great start for us in America and BCN was one of the few stations that played alternative music at that time. Right. So they were a trailblazing station, and they had great guys like you working there who are still blazing the trail now.
You're too kind, but yeah, you were. It was always fun when you came because I see. Everybody would come there. All these Tony Bennett and David Bowie and Alice Cooper. But when you came, it was like. And that's cool, and it's nice to finally talk to you, and I hope I get to figure out, myself what some of that magic is that these really powerful radio cats just gravitated to you. Now, you're calling us from your house. Are you in Wales right now?
I'm actually in Wales, yeah, I am. I'm here in Prestatyn in North Wales, and just come back from swimming lessons with the kids.
And are the kids going to come on this trip to Hawaii?
Yeah, they are. They're really excited, and I've been showing them about Hawaii and Kauai and everything like that, and telling them about Donovan Frankenreiter and surfing, and how they're going to have a great time. So they're looking forward to experiencing the culture you've got out there.
What kind of previous experience do you have, Mike, with the islands here? Like, have you been before?
I've been to Maui once I came with Billy Duffy from the Cults, actually.
Color Sound.
We went out there to record with Bob Rock, who's a resident of the island.
Oh, yeah.
And we did some recording in his studio, and I had an absolutely fantastic time, and I seem to remember breaking my ribs on the surf. And we spent the mornings running on the beaches and writing songs, and had an absolute incredible time, and I always wanted to come back and go to Kauai and bring the kids, and my wife Jules will be something really, really special. Did
you actually break your ribs here?
I did, yeah. I wasn't actually surfing, but I danced. I can't admit to that. I came off a boogie board in about 2 foot of water.
And how many ribs did you break?
Only a couple. I probably bruised them more than broke them, but it felt like it broke them, and It was. I was only able to hobble around the stage for a few weeks after that.
Oh man, that's crazy talk. Over on Maui, huh? Did you have to go to the hospital and stuff?
No, I was okay. There's nothing I could do really. I just had to sort of get on with it, and no Pete Townsend freewheeling, arm swinging on the guitar for a few weeks.
That's good stuff. And was that when they were recording the Cult record with Bob?
No, it was after they'd done the Cult record. Billy and I worked on a project together called Colour Sound.
Right, yeah, that one, yeah.
Which was in 1999. And in a way, it was a great experience for both of us, because obviously Billy's coming out to Kauai Rocks as well. Mm-hmm. And Billy and I were able to talk as a guitarist and a singer. And we spent a lot, as I said, we spent a lot of time running on the beach, walking mountains here in Wales, and our travels to Kauai and recording with Bob enabled us to sort of understand more about the bands we come from, about the Alarm and the Cult. And that trip that we came to Maui, it really paved the way for the modern era of our bands. The Cult got together not long after our recording sessions, and so did the Alarm, really. So we were able to heal a lot of our past differences within our own groups and move on again. And so I always think of coming to Hawaii as being a very healing part of my life. You know, I was able to move on and move past some things, and it was a great space to come. And because it's a very calm island, that was my impression. It was a very calm, peaceful, loving place to be, and that certainly influenced the way I thought about what's happened in the years since then.
And that's great. That's great stuff right there. Did you go to Honolulu when you were here at all, or no?
No, I didn't have that pleasure. We nearly came out to play in Honolulu once with the Alarm back in the late 80s, but it never happened. It was going to be for kind of some sort of festival type of concert, and it never quite happened. And it's always one of those places I've wanted to go to. And even though I'm coming now to Hawaii for my second time and going to Kauai, I don't think it'll be out of the. Won't be long, and I'll be coming back to take in a third time, and then Honolulu will be fantastic, because I've got lots of friends that have been there, and all speak very highly of the island and the culture and the environment.
Yeah, it's a great place. It's a city in a tropical beach. It's kind of like Times Square in the Caribbean. It's hard to describe it with a never-ending breeze. I love it here after being here for 9 years. So this thing that you're a special guy because you're a survivor. You're a tough guy. You're an inspiration to people on multiple levels. Talk about what in your life led to you getting Love, Hope, Strength together.
Well, I was diagnosed with cancer twice in my life, and you say I describe me as being a tough guy or whatever, but it was anything but that. I think my experience of cancer was just fear. When they told me I had lymphoma in '96, I sort of ran away from it, to be quite honest. I was diagnosed days before a tour, days before I would have met you at that BCN thing in Boston in '96, and I came out. I was supposed to have a bone marrow transplant and chemotherapy, and I said to the doctors, "Look, can I put it off for 3 months while I go to America on tour?" And they couldn't believe it. But so I suppose in a way it was fear, but that led me to go down onto alternative routes to the normal cancer treatment that you would expect at that time. And I, through a friend of a friend, ended up consulting with a face healer, and she told me that green was a healing colour for me to concentrate on while I was away. And then when I got off the plane, I was heading up to Boston, and I stopped in Connecticut on the way and visited an army surplus store and bought myself some American combat fatigues. And I said to my wife, Jules, I said, I'm not going to take these off till I've been cured. Right. And I wore them every day. When we met in Boston that winter, I was probably wearing army fatigues. But I kept it to myself. I didn't tell anyone because I thought I didn't want to frighten people.
It's like a pact to yourself.
Yeah, I didn't even tell my mother I was ill. I just went on the tour, and then when I came back, I went registered back in the hospital ready to have treatment, and I thought I was coming in for the the full hit, and my bloods had actually reversed, and I'd what they called a spontaneous remission at the time. And it was a weird and remarkable and very hopeful journey for me to go on. It was an incredible journey, and I didn't really understand what had happened to me. But then, almost 10 years to the day, in 2006, roughly, I was diagnosed with leukemia, and my doctors really thought that by the understanding and the distance travelled in how to treat cancer travelled so far in the 10 years. I think what I'd actually had was the leukemia in 95, 96, and was able to suppress it for 10 years, really, which some people do now. They know, they understand that. And so then I had to go on a journey with leukemia, and that was informed by my experience of 95, 96, when I said to my doctor, okay, I can't escape this time. I've got to have chemo. But I want to carry on playing music shows. We had an Alarm album coming out, and I wanted to carry on playing the shows I could. And my doctors were great with me, and they worked out a schedule how I could have chemo and play a show, and then come back in and have more chemo, and that's what I did. And the BBC here in the UK followed me to make a documentary of that cancer fight. And in the middle of it, I started the Love, Hope, Strength Foundation with a guy called James Chippendale from Texas. Because I went to play the South by Southwest Music Festival in Austin, and I couldn't get any insurance to play. So through a friend of a friend, I met James, and he told me about his experience as a leukemia survivor. And now he'd had to have a transplant, and his life was saved by a donor from Germany who was 42. And I worked out that if that guy had tried to sign on the list in the UK, he would have been denied access to the list, and James would have been lost to the world. So that was one of the things at United, to try and change the way bone marrow donors are registered internationally, and trying to unify that process. And also, while I was going through my chemo, I could see the summit of Mount Snowdon in Wales, where I live, which is the highest mountain in England and Wales. And I thought to myself, when I get well, as a symbol to me of my recovery, I'm going to take all my Alarm fans to the summit of the mountain, play a concert, and support the cancer centre down below that had given me my life back. And those were the beginnings of the Love, Hope, Strength Foundation, the two goals: to unify bone marrow donors around the world, and to raise money for cancer centres around the world to help people like me and James fight back against cancer. And so our first event was Snowdon, but then we went to Everest, and we climbed Mount Everest, but it was to raise money to support people in Kathmandu in Nepal. And then now, here we are, 4.5 years later, and we're coming to Kauai, and we're going to be supporting the Cancer Network on the island itself, and working to find Polynesian bone marrow donors.
So each
amazing journey.
It's an incredible journey. I mean, it's I knew this was going to be a different conversation, and it is. The Everest campaign, quickly on that you mentioned, that was the highest concert ever on land. Who was it who came up and supported you in that one?
Yeah, well, at the time it was the highest concert on land, and we played a concert above base camp. Our trek was to Gorak Shep, really, and then we climbed the extra height to a peak called Kalapatar, which you can see the summit of Everest from there, and it was a massive climb, and the musicians there were Glenn Tilbrook from Squeeze, we had Slim Jim Phantom from Stray Cats, we had Cy and Jamie from The Fix, and a British singer-songwriter named Nick Harper, and myself from The Alarm. And we formed the Love, Hope, Strength band on the mountain.
Unbelievable.
And we performed at 18,500 feet, and it was a difficult atmosphere to play the concert in, because everyone had literally hauled themselves up the mountain and combating altitude sickness. And particularly Glenn Tilbrook, he must have stopped to be sick about 100 times those last 500 feet. He'd walk 10 feet, throw up, sit down, carry on going. And it became, it was very symbolic of what people have to do in the fight against cancer. It's not an easy mountain to climb. And I do feel that cancer sufferers out there empathise with our journeys, in that way, because cancer does make people sick every time they have some treatment and they lose their hair, and it's a massive battle to climb to regain your self-respect and your esteem and to find hope. And we feel that when we're doing those climbs and we take people like myself and James Chippendale who've been through that fight, overcome cancer, it can give hope to other people who are just embarking on that journey, that stood at the foot of the mountain. Hopefully they can see others at the top and think, yeah, I'm going to make it too. And that's another part of what we do, is to help with the love, hope and strength side of the battle, because you need as much of that as the modern day treatment to win. I believe that you win with a combination of strength and you gain from having your family around you and the love that you get from that, and also the hope of seeing others and hearing the message that cancer isn't a death sentence anymore, but it can be won. And if you put your mind to it and you utilise all the forces you have in that fight to a positive outcome, then you've got a really good chance in this day and age of winning the battle.
I totally get where the name comes from now. That's huge. The name really implies its own message, if you will.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it originally came from an alarm song that we had called Strength in 1985.
Yeah, great tune.
Which is a big alarm record.
Yeah.
At that time, I didn't realise when I'd written the lyrics, there were just three simple words to me that carried a weight and were great words to sing, and they were words that transcended the stage into the audience and were upheld on the radio and to the listener. But I didn't realise how powerful they became when I was standing in America with combat fatigues on, singing for my life, and then they came across that song and we playing it on my acoustic guitar, and then the words spoke to me in another way, and James Chippendale saw me, and he came to my creative space in Wales. I own a chapel that I do a lot of work in, and he saw that I'd made, when I was going through my cancer fight, I made my own T-shirts with love, hope, strength, sort of written on them for my friends to wear when they came to visit me in hospital. And he said, that's what we've got to call the charity. And he was very right. It really has resonated out there. Those three words are, a really powerful combination of words.
Oh, they're very powerful, and it's so cool that there's what a meaningful story behind it all. It's heavy stuff, Mike. Damn, man. It's
been it's heavy, but it's positive, and it's really weird. But I wish I hadn't had to go through what I've had to go through, but I'm sort of glad I did in a way, because it's given me a real big understanding of life, the value of life. I've got two young boys, and I really wanted them when I had to face the cancer reality that was for me. I had to face the possibility that I might never have kids, so I had to really fight for my kids and go through all the things that some people have to do to have them. And so everything I have in life is really valuable and special. And again, to be able to come out and have the opportunity in this stage of my life to travel and to come to Hawaii and play at Kauai, and it's an incredible reminder of the gift of life that we're all given when we're born, and to cherish and uphold that fact.
Sure, man. That's no question. There's all kinds of lessons in listening to you today. There's no doubt about that. This trip here, you mentioned it. You're going to be. You said that the money is going to be, and it sounded like in each of these Love, Hope, Strength trips, and then finally this most recent one, the money stays in the local community's fight against cancer.
That's right. Yeah, that's at the sort of cornerstone of what makes charity work, really. I felt that when I was having my very first day of treatment, I was having my first chemotherapy session. A friend of mine named Peter Large came to visit me in the hospital, and he was another guy who'd been through cancer, and he's not a part of Love, Hope, Strength. He's a real estate agent in North Wales where I live, but he'd been through a big cancer fight, and I'd visited him, and he run through his real estate agency. He raised some money for the cancer centre, and he sat on my bed and he said, "Hey, Mike, if you're going to raise money for the fight against cancer, which I know you will when you come through this," he said, "don't give it to the big research organisations. It'll just disappear into something that no one can see." He said, "Bring your money here, even if it's to buy a pencil for the nurse to fill in a chart, or to buy a set of plasters to put on the arms of people that are having their needlework repaired. He said, just give it to the hospital here, and it'll really be in help in the frontline battle." And that stayed with me. And so when I climbed Snowdon, we raised a massive amount of money, and we gave it to the hospital to build a hospital wing. And I can now, when people come to climb Mount Snowdon, I can take them to the hospital and show them where the money's gone. And that it really empowers them to go out into their community and work really hard, because they're helping to save their own people. It's not going to save, there's some great organisations that do all the work for research. I just felt there was something needed to be found that was a front line, climb a mountain to save someone, like your sister maybe, or your child in your community, or, your next door neighbour's friends, or whatever it is. But I think if you're walking or raising money within your own community, it has a really powerful effect, and you're likely to get a lot more support that way, and the support you give through that endeavour that you might take, be it going on a trek or a hike or riding a bike or swimming for Love, Hope, Strength. People really welcome that endeavour that you've gone through, and can see the benefit from it.
Who is the local benefactor for the Hawaii one?
I think it's going to be given to various agents in the community, that like a breast cancer support unit, or to find bone marrow donors for Polynesian people who need to find a match, and also if there's a local cancer unit there, we'll enable the money. Will be able to buy equipment for that centre to become more powerful, and more adept, and more independent, to be able to treat its own people from within its own community. Who will pick out the precise local organisations? Well, Shannon Foley is our Director of Operation in the USA, and she's been out to Hawaii and identified some things that we should be supporting, and also through our work with local people on the ground, we're able to identify where some of the money needs to go. And that can be from anything from, like I say, breast cancer support or leukemia support, even if it's just some people meeting around the table. If we raise enough money, we can spread it around the entire cancer community in that part of that world, or in that area where we are. So we don't just give it to one organisation. We try to spread it around and help as many people as we can. And also at the same time, if somebody is coming on the trek with us that's from the local community and raises a lot of money, we'll ask them, where do you want your money that you've raised for Love, Hope, Strength, where do you want that to go? So that they can actually then give it back to their own community, to a place that they've identified themselves. And so that happens a lot with us. Whereas once people realise that's what they can do, they use the Love, Hope, Strength umbrella as their fundraising, imaging, if you like, and presentation. But then they raise the money with Love, Hope, Strength, and then we give it straight back to them to give to where they need it to go to. Great. I see the partnership and how it works on both ends. When it comes to the artists, which I'm sure is a fascinating question for the listeners, do the artists get paid at all to do it, or have their expenses covered? How does it work that you've recruited all this talent and they come along? Obviously, for a lot of artists, we cover their sort of basic needs with expenses to come out and play. If it's their first time with Love, Hope, Strength. So if they, often most of our artists get a taste of it and then want to come back time after time. Sure. And we always encourage them to do their own fundraising, even if it is their first time. Of course, if it's their first time, and we want them to get involved, we'll cover their expenses. but at the same time, we always encourage them to go into their own fan base and do a fundraising event or promote what we're trying to do from the stage at their own events leading up to the main event, Love, Hope, Strength events, as is. So, for instance, Billy Duffy, this is his second event for Love, Hope, Strength. The first one was our very first ever event when we climbed
Empire State Building.
Empire State Building in 2007, yeah. And Billy came there, but he didn't want any fundraising then. He paid for his own flight and turned up. And, he was a friend of mine. He just wanted to support me in my own cancer fight. And the same this time. He's coming out to because he's a really great dear friend of mine, and he missed out on Everest and Kilimanjaro, so he thought, right, I'm coming to Hawaii this time and do the trek with myself.
That's really cool. I talked to all these cats. You're the final one besides Donovan, who... oh,
great.
Yeah, so I've been doing this all week and last week, and he speaks really highly. It's wonderful to hear that camaraderie, and that's so cool that these guys... I've wondered about that, so you answered that one. How about the hotels, airlines? Are they giving you a break on the flights and putting these guys up?
I'm not quite sure. I don't... I think that it's hard for... We don't rely on that to help run the charity, really, because things like that are being hit all the time, airlines. So we try to work on making the event as exciting as we possibly can, and then so that individuals can use this event as their big fundraising challenge for the year. So it's down to our sort of non-musician, non-celebrity trekkers to come, and they're the ones that do the main fundraising in their communities, or they identify, think, well, I'm going to go to Hawaii and do a trek with Mike Teeters from the Alarm and Billy Duffy, and they'll help raise funds in their local community to help us find bone marrow donors to join them to the international registry. And then they pay a basic cost to come on the trek, but then they'll try and raise more than they're supposed to in the field or internationally. And some people come up with some incredible ways to raise money and go beyond the call of duty. And I think a lot of our trekkers, they come with us because they've been empowered by what they've seen, and they know that the funding goes to help real people and it doesn't just disappear. And the treks that we've been to Everest, or we climbed Kilimanjaro a couple of years ago, and the summer just gone. The winter, just a few months ago, I went to Dar es Salaam to open a children's cancer unit that we built with a fundraising that we put together on the mountain of Kilimanjaro, and so we show those photographs and play those videos online, and people can actually see where the money, those 25 people who climbed Kilimanjaro, they can see where that money went, and the final objectivity was met.
Yeah, no, that's huge to see the progress, to see the payoff of it all.
That's a great thing. Last year on Snowdon, we had a dinner before the event, and we took everyone to the cancer centre and showed them the actual things we'd bought with the money that had been raised on the mountain, and it's really powerful.
Yeah, it makes that connection. It makes you realize, what I'm doing matters. Here's the thing we bought that's...
Yeah, and it's a real thing, and it's great. Some people don't want that sort of clarity, and that they're just happy to raise for a research organisation like, American Cancer Research or something like that. And that's fantastic. But I think because ours are sort of artist-led endeavours, when we've got, say, Donovan Frankenreiter involved and Billy Duffy, I think those people do want to have a lot more specific answers because they want to answer to their fans as well. And, they've got to go on the radio and talk to people like yourselves, and they say, where is the money going? What's going to happen with it? And I like to think with Love, Hope, Strength, we can supply them with some answers, and the same for our trekkers too, and they can feel comfortable walking with us.
What would be cool do you still have a relationship or rapport with the U2 guys? I guess I could just see, if you got one or all of them, they would be perfect on one of these things. Obviously it'd be fantastic to do something with U2, and
I do have relationships going back to 1981 with those guys.
I know.
So it's a 30-year relationship we have, and funny enough, I got a message from Bono the other night, and I think you mentioned at the top of the interview that I also sing with Big Country as well as
Yep.
The Alarm, and we've just been recording some tracks with Steve Lillywhite, who produces all, has mixed
All the U2.
on every U2 record there's ever been. And so we have very close ties with the band, and obviously they get involved in a lot of charitable events themselves. But one day I'm sure, especially I know the Edge's daughter suffered from leukemia, and he's done a lot of fundraising activities or donated a lot of money to charity and helped a lot of charity out through other organisations, not just Love, Hope, Strength. And
right.
when the time is right, and we might all be able to come together on a certain day and join together in the fight against cancer. But as long as I like to think you two do great work in all areas of humanity, and I know they've supported the fight against cancer, and they've supported the fight against AIDS, and nowadays in a weird sort of way, our actions are all coming together, because by finding bone marrow donors, that is now a stem cell transplant where you need a donor to help you through that process, is now starting to become a recognised cure, not just for leukemias, but for sickle cell.
Right, for other stuff.
AIDS. It's a potential cure for people with HIV now. So, our work is starting to dovetail. So you never know, there might be an action where we really can all come together. And I'd like to think that maybe on the next U2 tour of America, in when they get around to making another album, might involve Love, Hope, Strength being part of that tour, and doing donor drives in the venues, because it would certainly help with some of their messages that they like to give out as a band as well. So I'm hoping that can happen.
Man, that would be cool. I really admire Bono. He's one of the last guys I've met and interviewed just about everybody. I've never gotten to talk with him. How hard is it to get a hold of him?
Well, I think it's he's approachable. I can tell you would not be, if he's the guy you want to interview the most in the world, he would not disappoint you to talk with him on the phone. Or
why don't you try to get me a phoner with him, dude? I would let me tell you what, I'm already taking good care of you, but I will be indebted to you forever. I get 15 minutes with him.
Hey, let's see, when let me see what I can do next time I bump into him.
Yeah, see what you can do. I don't know that he's ever done one out here.
I'll see if I can invite him out to Kauai next few weeks, see what we can do.
You better tell me if he's coming.
Yeah, and it's The Alarm's 30th anniversary.
I love it.
I'd play all the stuff The Alarm's known for and everything like that, and more. So,
you'll play me Sold Me Down the River, you promise, right?
Yeah, you've got it. Last tour, just recent tour with that every night.
All right, I give you a big hug. We'll talk via email soon, and
fantastic, Dave.
You be safe, brother.
All right, man. And great to speak with you, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Me too. Aloha, brother Mike.
Yeah, aloha.